messed up the first recording on the way down, travelling down to Christie's, so we just parked up now. So I'm going to go in and get the CT scan results from a few weeks back. Well, actually, I think it's more than a few weeks back. I think it was sometime last month, and I can't remember, to be honest. So we went away for a week, and I sprained my knee on the sand, twisted my MCL. So I've had a brace on for the last few weeks, and it's slightly improving now, only by a herbal remedy. Castor oil, cayenne pepper and comfrey oil massaged in, and also using an infrared lamp, which has helped tremendously this last couple of days. And I've been in a lot of pain and discomfort with it, and it's definitely improved. So top tip for you there, natural healer without taking painkillers. So anyway,
been a tough couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has. So I just had a magic moment in the car. I just got a little bit emotional, which I do quite frequently at the moment. But I got this box of tissues in the car, and I've just seen what it says on it. It's quite apt, isn't it? Thrive. So that's what that's what my challenge is, and that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, is thriving and healing. Had a really rough night. I didn't sleep very well, but it's just all anxiety because I don't want to come down to the Christie Hospital in Manchester. As simple as that. I don't think they're going to help me in any way at all. They made it quite clear from the GP practice that I was written off as a stage 4 cancer patient, and referred to palliative end-of-life care at the local hospice. So that's what the NHS think of stage 4 patients. It's just something to bear in mind. We don't want to face it, but bottom line is that's just the way it is. It is what it is.
Oh well, so it's afternoon now, and we have been to the Christie Hospital and come back, and today it was actually a successful visit. And in fairness to the Christie, they dealt with things pretty promptly. So we got to see Dr. O'Brien, who we've been waiting to see for some time. That's the good news. We had a consultation and we discussed what potential treatment options might be available. And unfortunately, there was nothing different than what was on the table in January. It was still about the hormone treatment that was offered back then. There was nothing new. So we did speak about the liquid biopsies option, and Dr. O'Brien quite clearly said it is not an option on the NHS. It is, however, available as part of clinical trials. But you have to be on those clinical trials for 6 months, and you have to, in Dr. O'Brien's words, jump through hoops whilst you're on those trials. It did not seem realistic, and the worrying aspect of that was that in order to get those liquid biopsies done on those trials, you also have to allow them to take physical biopsies from the tumour itself. That, as we already know, carries with it a humongous risk of spreading the cancer even further. We're already talking about metastatic stage 4 cancer. Therefore, any further rupture of the tumour in those terms would not necessarily be beneficial. So it's food for thought, something to give serious consideration to, and go a different path. The next thing was the review of the CT scans that were taken perhaps 4, 5, maybe even 6 weeks ago. It's not brilliant news. You could argue in one hand that there is some positivity, but the reference from Dr. O'Brien to the new scan compared to the scan taken in December was there wasn't a great deal of change. Now, if you think about a person with stage 4 cancer moving through 6 months of their life and not seeing any change on a scan, could be very positive indeed. Now, we know that the liver has been under great attack, and we know that there are some progress and some beneficial side effects to that progress that are clearly present in Lesley. Those that have seen Lesley, that have met Lesley and have seen her on her good days, will know that she's vibrant, she's healthy, she's looking great, she's energetic, and she's even an inspiration, not only to myself but to many other people that she's meeting on this particular journey. So to be told that there's no change, it grates a little bit. It grates a little bit. We were hoping for some better news, but that wasn't available today. What Dr. O'Brien has agreed to is to do enhanced blood test. So we've not agreed to the basics that the Christie Hospital would all normally do. They've agreed to do full profiles, and we're hoping that will include iron, liver, kidneys, thyroid, supplements, bone, etc., etc., and a lot more detailed blood testing result is expected. So that's been done today, and she has also agreed that it should be right that Lesley should have a MRI scan. That will be conducted in due course. We also spoke about looking a little bit more at the liver, and we reminded the doctor about the fact that it took 3 failed visits to accident and emergency before we actually paid privately for an ultrasound scan to detect the liver metastases in the first place. She's agreed that a further ultrasound scan might be useful to have a closer look at what's going on in the liver. So whereas she can't see any difference in terms of the overall mass, we know from previous discussions that underneath that overall mass, that shell, that outer shell, there is some significant change in the density of the cancer cells. And you only have to look at Lesley to know that that must be true. She could not do what she's doing now if there wasn't some beneficial progress in the cancer. So that's where we are. It's hard to say how we're really feeling. Deflated a little bit, but also positive in the sense that when the medical team say that there's nothing that they can do or there's nothing that they can offer, it just means that it's them. It doesn't mean there's no options. There's always other options. And there were some very intriguing questions that Dr. O'Brien asked, and one in particular was, well, what are you doing? Because she was quite clearly intrigued at the fact that A, Lesley's still here, B, she wasn't in a wheelchair, and C, that she's got a brace on her knee that Lesley told her was playing volleyball on a beach, and when her chin came back off the floor, you could see the surprise at what Lesley's doing. So she wanted to know, was she taking anything from Chinese medicine? Having come back and thought about it, we should have said, what is it in particular that you think she might be taking from Chinese medicine? A little bit of food for thought, maybe. So that's where we're at today. We're going to regroup and regather our thoughts, and this afternoon we're hoping to spend a wonderful afternoon with Lesley's dad. It's his 80th birthday today, and we're going out for something to eat with the family, which should be a really lovely way to end today. So God bless you all. Thanks for supporting us. Just before I finish, it would obviously be remiss not to mention the raffle that we've got going. Please promote this raffle for us. Help us out as much as you possibly can. Whatever we're doing in the future on the private side is really, really expensive, and we've hammered our budgets so much with the treatments that we've taken so far. So every little bit of help helps us massively. And all we're asking is that you enter a prize draw that you potentially could win a really cool night out at Cafe Grandabacco in Uppermill. They've got an Italian evening. It's Wednesday, the 14th of August, 2024. Seats for 7 o'clock. We've got those reserved, and we're going to do a draw on the 7th of August. So everybody needs to get in that. Get it. Just have an entry. Just help us out. Have an entry. You never know. You might be winning an evening out with your loved one that could really be a night to remember. And we'll never forget you for your support that you've given us. Thanks so much from Lesley and I, and we'll see you again soon.